Long ago, in the sun-baked heart of the Savannah Kingdom, there lived a boy named Kito. He was just 17, barefoot and skinny, but his eyes carried something the royal palace had not seen in a long time: fire. Not the kind that burned houses, but the kind that burned through injustice. Kito was an orphan, raised by an old village elder named Babu Mosi, who claimed to have once spoken to giraffes. Most people weren't sure whether to believe him. They lived in a crumbling mud hut at the edge of TMU village, where people told stories under mango trees and stretched their hope thinner than their meals. The kingdom was ruled by King Zubri, a man who wore gold even when he bathed. He called himself the Lion of the Throne, but everyone knew he was more hyena than lion, laughing at the poor, feeding on their work, and snapping his jeweled fingers to take whatever he wanted. Zubri didn't care for stories, songs, or farmers. He cared for taxes. And more taxes. And then, just for fun, more taxes. One scorched afternoon, a royal messenger rode into TMU with trumpets blasting and a scroll taller than the messenger himself. He unrolled it with flair and read aloud, "All villagers must attend the royal gathering in 5 days. Attendance is mandatory. Long live the king." Nobody cheered. A rooster coughed. That was it. Scroll the royal gathering. The palace of King Zubri was so grand it looked like a mountain dipped in honey. Golden domes glinted in the sunlight, guarded by stone lions and real ones too, though the real lions looked bored. Villagers from across the kingdom gathered in the palace court, heads low, hearts lower. The king sat high on his golden throne, draped in silks and surrounded by dancers fanning him with feathers larger than actual birds. He spoke in a voice thick with pride. "You complain too much," he said. "If your stomachs are empty, then eat less. If your roofs leak, learn to dance in the rain." There were sneakers from his advisors. But from the crowd came silence, until Kito stepped forward. And oh boy, he really did step forward, right past the guards, past the elite, right into the middle of the marble court like he owned the place. "We are not lazy, Your Majesty," Kito said, loud and clear. "We are suffering. Your greed has cursed this land. Look around, your gold shines while our children shrink." Gasps. One woman fainted into a basket of onions. A guard nearly choked on his own mustache. The king leaned forward slowly, narrowing his eyes. "You have spirit, boy." "Not spirit," Kito replied. "Just truth." For a moment, it seemed Zubri might order his guards to chop Kito into pieces and serve him as a side dish. But instead, the king laughed, a deep, cruel laugh that made his belly jiggle like overcooked porridge. "Very well," he sneered. "Let's play a little game." The court hushed. "Fix the 5 cursed villages, those no one dares enter. If you succeed, I'll step down. You'll rule. But if you fail," he made a slicing motion across his neck, "you'll join the vultures." The crowd shuddered. Kito didn't blink. "I accept." National Park. The journey begins. At sunrise, Kito left the palace with nothing but a satchel, a walking stick, and the hope of the people behind him. Babu Mosi hugged him tight before he left. "Don't try to be a hero," the old man said. "Just be good. That's rarer." Kito nodded, then walked into the wild unknown. For 2 days, he traveled across red dirt paths and slept beneath whispering acacia trees. His first destination was the village of Moli, but on the 3rd day, something, or someone, changed his course. Monkey, the monkey of Misozi Woods. As Kito entered the shady edges of Misozi Woods, he felt eyes watching him. He clutched his walking stick tighter. Snap! A mango dropped from above and bunged him on the head. He looked up, frowning. And there he was, a monkey, small and wiry, dangling by his tail from a branch and grinning like he had just heard the world's juiciest secret. "Ow," Kito muttered, rubbing his head. The monkey chattered something unintelligible, then threw another mango. This time, Kito caught it. Are you trying to feed me or knock me out? Kito asked. The monkey leapt down, landed gracefully, and offered a little bow. He then scampered ahead, glancing back like he expected Kito to follow. Kito shrugged. Why not? What followed was a chaotic hike through tangled vines, hidden paths, and strange animal tracks. The monkey seemed to know the forest like it was his own living room. Finally, they reached a high cliff with a view that stole Kito's breath. Below was Mboli, shrouded in mist. Strange black clouds hovered above it, and no birds flew near. Kito sat beside the monkey, thoughtful. So that's the first village, he said. Cursed, they say. The monkey chattered softly and sat beside him, plucking fleas from his arm with surprising delicacy. You coming with me? Kito asked. The monkey nodded, seriously, this time. All right. I'll call you Tambo. Tambo grinned, leapt on Kito's shoulder, and made a noise that sounded suspiciously like, let's go, boss. The mist clung to Kito's skin like sweat as he and Tambo descended into Ngolo, the first of the 5 cursed villages. From the cliff above, it had looked like a ghost town, but up close, it was worse. There were people. They were moving. But no one was speaking. No laughter. No greetings. No claps of joy. Not even the rhythmic beat of drums that usually echoed through African villages like a heartbeat. Even the children were quiet, and that was the scariest part of all. Tambo the monkey clung to Kito's shoulder, uneasy. His tail twitched nervously. The houses were neat but colorless. Windows were closed. Doors creaked but never opened fully. A boy dropped a stick toy in front of Kito but didn't say a word. Just picked it up and backed away slowly. Kito turned to Tambo. This place is too quiet, friend. Like the forest before a lion pounces. Tambo made a face like, yep, we're definitely in cursed territory. Derelict house, the soundless town. At the center of the village stood a great empty circle, clearly once used for dancing and celebrations. Kito stepped into it, raised his voice, and said, Greetings. I am Kito, traveler sent by King Zubritu. At the mention of the king's name, doors slammed, windows shut, and a bird fainted mid-flight. Tambo facepalmed. Kito sighed. Right. Bad PR. Then a low, wheezy voice came from behind. You should not have come. Kito turned. An old woman, bent like a question mark, stood holding a crooked cane. Her eyes were sharp, but her mouth was pinched like it hadn't smiled since sandals were invented. Are you the village elder? Kito asked. The woman nodded. I am Mama Kifo. I keep the silence safe. Keep the silence safe. Kito repeated. What does that even mean? Sounds like the motto of a haunted library. The old woman did not laugh. Not that he expected her to. She turned and walked away. Kito followed. Drummed the story of the silent curse. Inside the elder's home, the air was thick with herbs and old sadness. She sat slowly and pointed to a shelf covered in dust. Upon it sat an ancient drum, its skin cracked, its sides worn. Long ago, music made our village famous, Mama Kifo said. But the king declared joy a threat to obedience. And so, we obeyed. Kito blinked. So, joy is illegal. She nodded. The louder we danced, the harder he taxed us. He blamed music for rebellion. One day, he sent soldiers who broke our drums and ordered silence. And then the illness came. Tambo looked around as if expecting ghosts to pop out of the cupboard. Kito leaned in. What illness? A sickness of the soul, Mama Kifo whispered. First the music vanished. Then the laughter. Then, even words became heavy. If we speak too much now, our heads hurt. Our tongues swell. The silence has rooted in us. Kito sat back. So basically, the king banned your joy, and your bodies believed him. Monkey the monkey makes a move. That night, Kito couldn't sleep. He paced near the village square, Tambo on his shoulder, both deep in thought. Then Tambo jumped down and dashed off. Tambo. Where are you? Wait. Is this another mango to the head thing? But Tambo wasn't playing. He disappeared into the elder's hut and came out carrying something heavy. Kito ran to him and gasped. The drum, he whispered. You stole the elder's drum. Tambo nodded with a grin. You can't just monkey up an artifact. Tambo banged on the drum once. Boom. A small breeze stirred. The window creaked open. Somewhere, a child gasped. He hit it again. Boom boom. Then, faintly, beautifully, a door opened. A woman stepped outside, eyes wide. Another villager peeked out. Then another. It was like Tambo had woken something ancient. Something powerful. Something called hope. The rhythm returns. Kito looked around. The villagers were coming out, one by one, eyes shining like stars through fog. Tambo, he said softly, keep that beat going. The monkey grinned and pounded the drum like he was born to do it. Boom. Boom bie boom. Boom. Kito picked up a stick and banged on a pot. A girl clapped. A boy stomped his feet. Soon the square was filled with rhythm. Clumsy rhythm. Awkward rhythm. But alive. Then something miraculous happened, people began to speak. My name is Kia, a girl shouted. I can talk, a boy yelled back. My ears are sweating, someone added, for no apparent reason. The air shimmered as if the silence itself was breaking into pieces. Mama Kifo emerged, her hands trembling. You shouldn't have done this, she said. If the king hears. Kito walked to her and placed the drum back in her hands. He's not here. We are. You can hide in fear, or stand in rhythm. She looked down at the drum. Then, she smiled. Elephant the elephant who watched. Unbeknownst to anyone, high on a hill just beyond the trees, a massive figure stood watching. An elephant. Old, wise, and silent. His name was Tembo, and he had been watching Golo for years. He had seen the silence. The sadness. The slow death of joy. Now, he saw something new. A boy. A monkey. And a rhythm that shook the ground like thunder. Tembo raised his trunk to the sky and let out a low, rumbling trumpet. The music stopped. Everyone froze. Then Kito turned and smiled. Looks like we're not the only ones tired of being quiet. Tembo lumbered into the village, slow and graceful. The villagers stepped back in awe. The elephant bowed his head to Kito. The villagers cheered again, this time with full voices, loud enough to wake the mountain gods. Sunrise over mountains, the journey continues. As the sun rose over Ngolo the next day, Kito packed his satchel. Tambo danced a little jig. Mama Kifo handed him a carved drumstick as a gift. You reminded us that joy is not rebellion. Joy is resistance, she said. Kito smiled, then turned to Tembo. You coming with us? The elephant nodded. Well, Kito said, patting his side, I guess we're officially a parade now. Together, Kito, Tambo, and Tembo left Ngolo, its silence shattered, its soul restored. 4 cursed villages remained. But now, the beat had begun. The sun was just beginning to rise when Kito, Tambo the monkey, and Tembo the elephant reached the edge of a cliff overlooking the fishing village of Tanda. What they saw made Kito's heart sink. The great river Moji, once crystal clear and teeming with fish, now slithered through the valley like an oil-slicked snake. Its once sparkling water was thick and black. The scent hit them a second later, bitter, metallic, and wrong. Tambo gagged dramatically and clutched his nose. Even Tembo took a step back. Kito muttered, "That river looks like it's been drinking poison tea." They made their way down the rocky trail toward the quiet village. Not a single boat floated in the river. Nets were folded, dry and unused. The market was empty, no fresh fish, no trade, no laughter. Only worry. Only whispers. What away the village afraid of the river? An old fisherman sat on a broken stool, sharpening a rusted hook he clearly hadn't used in a while. His hands trembled with every scrape. Kito approached him. "Excuse me, elder, what happened to the river?" The man looked up, eyes tired, and said simply, "She got angry." "She? The river spirit. We took too much. She's punishing us now." Others nodded. Some crossed themselves. A child peeked out from behind a hut and whispered, "It eats the fish," and the fisherman. Tambo's eyes went wide. He mimed paddling an invisible canoe, then dramatically tipping it over. Kito waved him off. "Something tells me this isn't magic," Kito said. "It's man-made. We just have to figure out who's messing with Moji." Man detective medium dark skin tone a dirty secret. Kito wandered upstream that afternoon, his boots squelching in the blackened mud. The further he walked, the worse the smell got. Tembo stayed back, not fond of steep cliffs, and Tambo hung from vines like he was auditioning for an acrobat show. And then, a screech pierced the sky. Kito looked up. A falcon soared above him, wings sharp and elegant. It circled once, twice, then dove into the trees ahead. Tambo grabbed Kito's arm and pointed. "Follow the falcon." Kito asked. Tambo gave him a "what else are we gonna do, play chess" look. They followed the bird deeper into the forest until the trees gave way to a rocky clearing. And there, hidden behind stacks of boulders, was a mining outpost. Covered in tarps. Guarded. And stinking like rot. They crept closer. Kito peered over a ridge and saw barrels. Dozens of them. Leaking thick black sludge straight into a creek that flowed down into the river. "Gold mine runoff," he muttered. "And they've been dumping it, on purpose." Tambo mimed, choking dramatically. The falcon screeched again and landed beside them, as if to say, "Yeah, I've been watching this for days. Took you long enough." Eagle the falcon's eye. That night, Kito came up with a plan. The villagers were too afraid to act. But fear didn't stand a chance against cleverness. "We exposed the truth. With proof," he told Tambo and the falcon. "And a little performance." Tambo cracked his knuckles. The falcon tilted its head. Then nodded. "Game on. Performing arts, the trap is set." At dawn, Kito returned to the village square, holding a wooden whistle in one hand and an empty water jug in the other. A few villagers gathered, skeptical but curious. "Tonight, I will summon the river spirit," he announced. "And she will tell us who poisoned her." Gasps. The old fisherman dropped his hook. Kito winked at Tambo, who disappeared into the trees. That night, the villagers lined the riverbank, tense and silent. Kito stood by the black water and blew his whistle once. Twice. Then, a screech. The falcon swooped down, a white ribbon tied to its leg, glowing in the moonlight. It flew straight over the mining outpost, where Tambo had cleverly lit small oil pots, sending smoke into the sky. From the village, it looked like the river itself was rising with fire and wings. People screamed. The officials panicked. Kito raised his voice. "The spirit is angry. Show us the poisoners or she'll flood the land." Right on cue, the falcon dropped a cloth-wrapped licking bearer into the village square. The black slime oozed out. The crowd went silent. Then, "That's from the king's mine," someone yelled. "Those officials poisoned us." Chaos. Shouting. Anger. The corrupt guards who ran the mine were surrounded before they could flee. Confessions flowed faster than the river. Droplet River reborn. The next morning, villagers, guided by Kito and Tembo, began cleaning the creek. They rowed barrels away, built rock dams to filter the water, and planted reeds to help purify the flow. It would take time. But already, the river looked lighter. Less angry. A silvery fish even flipped out of the water like it was checking on progress. The old fisherman cried. "She forgives us," he whispered. Kito placed a hand on the falcon's back. "No river spirit. Just as the sea from above." The bird cooed and pecked his shoulder affectionately. "So, what should we call her?" Kito asked Tambo. The monkey thought for a moment, then thumped his chest proudly. "How about Zoe?" Kito offered. "It means beautiful." The falcon screeched in approval. Sunrise, and then there were 4. As Kito prepared to leave, the villagers gathered to thank him with fish, dried fruit, and handmade sandals that mostly fit. Kito smiled. "I didn't fix the river. We did. Together." With Zoe the falcon now flying ahead, Tembo behind, and Tambo doing cartwheels in the dirt, Kito stepped onto the red path leading east. 3 cursed villages remained. And now, he had eyes in the sky. The desert stretched before them, hot, endless, and shimmering like it was made of dreams and mirages. Kito wrapped a cloth around his face to block the sun, while Tambo clung to Tembo's ear like a scarf with opinions. Zoe soared high overhead, scanning the dunes below. Their destination, Koron, the 4th cursed village. But this curse was different. It didn't choke rivers or kill music. This one made people vanish. Desert, a town that feared nightfall. Koron sat at the foot of a wind-worn cliff, its houses carved partially into stone like they were trying to hide from the sky. The people looked tired, wide-eyed, and sunburned. No children played. No traders called out. Every home had 2 locks. One for the door. One for the inside of the door. As the sun lowered, people rushed indoors like dust carried disease. Kito stopped an old woman carrying water. "Why do you all hide at night?" She clutched her jug tighter. "Because the shadows take people." Kito frowned. "Shadows? You'll understand. If you survive tonight." "Not creepy at all." Tambo shook his head furiously. Tembo let out a low rumble. Even Zoe flapped nervously. Waxing crescent moon the first night. Kito and his crew stayed outside after sundown, against everyone's begging. The wind picked up. The stars blinked on like nervous fireflies. Then they came. Figures in dark cloaks, silent and swift, emerged from the dunes like ghosts. They moved in groups, creeping toward a small house. One kicked in the door. Screams followed. Zoe let out a screech. Kito's heart pounded. Tambo launched a rock. It hit one figure in the shoulder. The figure turned, and Kito saw a badge glint in the moonlight. Not ghosts. Soldiers. Enforcers. From the king. Kito's blood boiled. "They are not shadows," he said. "They are kidnappers." And worse, they wore no royal colors. This was a secret force, hiding under superstition. But Kito had no proof. And no plan. Yet. Wolfface entered the jackal. The next day, Kito climbed the cliffs near town to think. That's when he heard laughter. Not normal laughter. Mocking, nasal laughter. A figure lounged on a ledge, chewing on a date fruit and wearing a scarf that looked suspiciously stolen. "You planning to sit there all day, hero boy?" the jackal asked. Kito blinked. "You're a talking jackal." The jackal gave him a look like, "You've got a monkey that plays drums and you're shocked by me. Name's Mshenzi. I know what's going on down there. And I know how to stop it." "Really?" Kito crossed his arms. Why help me? Because I hate cages. And these shadows put good people in cages. Also, I'm bored. That last part was the most honest. Hole into the tunnels. That night, Mshenzi led them behind the cliffs to a hidden crack in the rock. A tunnel. The king's enforcers use this to sneak in and out. They call it the serpent spine. Long, winding, and full of secrets. Inside, the tunnel stank of sweat, iron, and damp lies. Kito lit a torch. The walls were etched with desperate messages. Names. Tallies. They passed rooms with cages. People inside. Villagers. Farmers. Even a child clutched a toy goat made of straw. They speak out, Mshenzi whispered. They vanish. Tembo growled. Zai flapped. Even Tambo looked too angry to be dramatic. Kito opened the cages. One by one, the villagers stepped out, confused but grateful. We'll need to distract the guards to get everyone out, Kito said. Mshenzi grinned. I'm excellent at distractions. Collision they escape. Outside the tunnel, Mshenzi howled like 10 wolves with a grudge. He ran circles around the outpost, kicking sand into guards' faces and biting ankles like it was a sport. Meanwhile, Kito led the captives through the tunnel. Tembo smashed a side wall for an emergency exit. Zeri flew ahead to scout the route. By dawn, every prisoner was free, the enforcers were in disarray, and Koron was wide awake for the first time in years. Party Popper the light returns. The villagers threw open their doors. They hugged their returned neighbors. Sang. Laughed. Drummed on empty water pots. An elder stepped forward. You've done the impossible. Kito smiled. The impossible's getting easier. Another voice whispered behind them, hushed but firm. He's not just a boy. He's something more. Mshenzi's ears twitched. You hearing what I'm hearing, kid? Kito turned. What do you mean? The elder touched his face gently. You have the eyes of Queen Alika. The rebel queen. She vanished before you were born. But her son was taken. The crowd murmured. Kito stood frozen. You're saying I'm a child of royalty, the elder said. Hidden to survive. Mshenzi whistled. Well, that just made things more interesting. Popprint another joins the journey. As the sun rose, Kito packed his things. Again. Zeri flew in circles overhead. Tembo snorted. Tambo cartwheeled. Mshenzi trotted up beside him. I'm coming with you. Someone's got to keep you from walking into obvious traps. You mean like this tunnel you showed me? Mshenzi grinned. Exactly. You're welcome. For companions now. 3 villages behind. And the fire in Kito's heart. Now it burned with purpose. By the time Kito returned to the capital, he was no longer just the orphan boy. He was the boy who made rivers run clean. The boy who brought back music. The boy who freed the taken. The boy who walked beside beasts. And the people had noticed. Cityscape the city awakens. Word spread like dry grass fire. Kito is back. He beat the king's curses. He walks with an elephant and talks to birds. Also, he might be the lost prince. By the time Kito reached the palace gates, the crowd behind him stretched through the entire capital. People stood on rooftops. Elders sang. Children waved sticks like royal scepters. Tambo beat out a rhythm on a cooking pot. Zeri circled above, screeching with pride. Mshenzi growled jokes under his breath. Tembo raised his trunk and let out a thunderous trumpet that shook windows. Even the guards hesitated. Lion faced Zubri's last trick. Inside the palace, King Zubri stood on his balcony, watching the sea of people rise like a tide that wouldn't retreat. So, the boy survived, he said with a smirk. Let's see how long that lasts. He turned to a hidden chamber and whispered. Awaken, old friend. It's time. Chains rattled. The ground trembled. From the shadows emerged a beast of legend, half lion, half snake, with burning eyes and a voice that spoke only in riddles and screams. Keep him from the throne, Zubri ordered. Or tear him apart. The beast nodded once, then vanished in smoke. Crossed towards the final trap. Kito entered the throne room. It was just as he remembered, golden, cold, and bloated with pride. Zubri sat lazily on his throne. Well, he purred. The hero returns. Kito stepped forward. Your people are ready. You lost the kingdom the moment you stopped listening. Zubri laughed. Oh, I'm still listening. Just not to you. The ground split. Smoke exploded. And from the marble floor rose the beast, hissing, roaring, crowned with dark fire. The crowd outside screamed. Zaidavan was knocked away. Tembo tried to charge but was held back by a magical force. Mshenzi howled. Kito was alone. The beast lunged. Tattled the wisdom beneath. And then, everything froze. The room dimmed. Time slowed. A faint glowing shape stepped forward. A giant turtle, old as the land itself, glowing with light from within. Kito stared. What are you? The turtle blinked slowly, like a creature that had seen too much. I am Zinjia. The keeper of bloodlines. The witness of crowns. I am here because you are ready. Kito knelt. You are the son of Queen Alika, who ruled with wisdom. She was betrayed. Her line was hidden to protect it, to protect you. Kito's heart raced. This throne was never his, the turtle said, nodding at Zubri. It was meant for the one who serves, not rules. The glow faded. The turtle vanished. Time returned. Speaking head truth over terror. The beast roared again, charging. But this time, Kito didn't run. He stood tall. You were born from fear, he shouted. But I am not afraid. The beast stopped mid-charge. It growled. You guard a king who is empty. I come with the people's strength. Kito looked around. I come with music. Tambo banged his drum. I come with flight. Zeri soared above. With laughter. Mshenzi cackled dramatically. With power that lifts, not crushes. Tembo roared. I come with truth. The beast snarled. Then, it bowed. And disappeared. Crowned the fall of a tyrant. King Zubri tried to run. But the people had already sealed the palace. No guards would fight for him now. You can't just take my throne, he screamed. This is mine. Kito stepped forward. You're right. I don't want your throne. He turned to the people. I want something better. Sunrise, a new era begins. That day, Kito was crowned not as king, but as guardian of the people. He rebuilt the palace into a public hall. Turned tax vaults into schools. And created a council made of farmers, teachers, healers, and dreamers. Music returned. Rivers flowed. Laughter filled the air like perfume. As for his companions, Tambo became minister of mischief. They scattered threats and birthdays from above. Tembo guarded the people's archive, and occasionally stole mangoes. Mshenzi became chief negotiator and prankster. Mzinjia the turtle vanished once more, but some say he still watches from beneath the roots of the baobab tree. And Kito? He never wore a crown. Because he didn't need one. Dizzy, the end of the beginning.